A very heavy price indeed, sir, for those soldiers, their families, and for the country. We lost 22 jawans in the April 2021 attack, and this is the most horrific attack carried out by Maoists in the last 2 years, with 10 of our jawans being killed and 1 civilian driver also losing his life. But you raised a very important issue, sir, and I want to discuss this with our next guest. Dilip Trivedi also is with us on the show now. Dilip Trivedi, I want to ask you pointed questions. A lot is being said about whether there was an intelligence failure, whether this was a serious security lapse, whether standard operating procedures were followed or not. Ram Nevazji essentially makes the point that we should not jump to the conclusion that this was an intelligence failure, because the intelligence that may have been provided was of a very generic nature, probably not enough to avert a terror attack or a Maoist attack of this nature. But you know, on the other hand, Vikram Singh asks a very important question. Why was the same route taken for the convoy to return after the anti-Naxal operation or encounter that they had undertaken? Because if you've taken that route the previous night, it goes without saying that the Maoists would learn of that route. Surely a different route could have been picked for their return? Do you see that as a major security lapse?
No, actually, there are, as DGCRPF, I've been in that area quite a lot. And I find that when people are speaking about failures and all, possibly they're not aware of many things on the ground. For instance, you see, it's not as if it's a big metropolis with hundreds of other roads around. There are possibly it is only one road available, one. But that is not the issue. The issue is, the point is that it's well-known fact that in these areas, the Maoists have been able to threaten the contractors while they are making roads to plant the IEDs well in advance when the road is is being made, and they are laid there. And thereafter, to detonate those IEDs, they need an electrical connection. You know, from those. It cannot be done by remote because it is so deep down in the ground. So they have to pull out wires from there and attach those wires to the detonator. Now, the point is that there's a well laid down procedure for this, that a road opening party is sent, which actually looks for these wires through metal detectors and even physically. I mean, you can see the wires if they're there. As I'm told, some wires have been recovered here also. So the biggest failure has been that I think maybe a road opening party was not there, or if it was there, then it did not locate that wire, which was essential to detonate this kind of a device. If that had been done, nothing of this kind would have happened, and maybe the wires would have led to location of the IEDs without them being exploded and being neutralized by the forces. So I think the biggest security lapse has been that rather than anything else, and that must be looked into, that why this has happened when there's a laid down procedure very well for this kind of a thing. Then coming to these other issues of not using the same road, intelligence failure. After all, everybody knows that that is a Maoist infested area. You don't need too much of intelligence into that. And once, very occasionally, will you get a pinpointed intelligence on that way exactly this is going to happen. That is why all these other precautions are taken of putting in people for road opening parties. I think the road opening parties is the biggest secure thing. And issues like having a mine protected vehicle, this vehicle, that doesn't work, because mine protected vehicles have been blown up also. As a matter of fact, when mine protected vehicles were blown up way back the first time, 76 people died. I think it was 2007 or something, and a whole mine protected vehicle had been blown up, and it was thrown so high in the sky that when it landed, the impact of that fall only killed so many people. So it's no protection. Mine protected vehicles are no protection. That's why they've been scantily used. The other option, of course, is use of motorcycles. That's a very good method by which which you can move in this area, because the motorcycle cannot be targeted, and if at all it is targeted, it's not going to cause a big casualty. The Maoist will not like to invest so much in just blowing up one motorcycle as they would in blowing up a vehicle. So these other options are there, which need to be actually looked into rather than just going into this generic talks of this has happened and that has happened.